I'll show you a bad sign. This is a local group. Rethink the Clean Air Zone. Greater Manchester. Now someone's posted this up. Planet X effects. Planet X video I told you about. David Mead, Planet X. Arrival is the book. Pole Shift. Nibiru. Planet X. Wormwood. Dimension X. Right. This is a conspiracy theory, or else this is actually an outright fantasy that left the pages and became a kind of movement or cult in like between 2000 and 2010. There's a quite helpful and quite accurate Wikipedia entry about this scam, and you'd be surprised. It's like, once I get to talking about this, you'll have heard of this, you older guys. You'll remember this, and you'll start to have a bit of a chuckle amongst yourself as to who else was pushing this, as to who was selling this story once upon a time, who've now, let's say, change their skin and become something more palatable. But it's like this was a crack of this when it came about. Let's have a read about it. The Nibiru cataclysm. It's like, this is absolutely fucking stupid. The Nibiru cataclysm is a supposed disastrous encounter between Earth and a large planetary object, either a collision or a near miss, that certain groups believed would take place in the early 21st century. Believers in this doomsday event usually refer to this object as Nibiru or Planet X. The idea was first put forward in 1995 by Nancy Leader, founder of the website Zeta Talk. Right. Okay, we know what that means, don't we? This is like, we're these people who crack on that we're fucking psychic. Yeah? This is an example of what happens when fantasists get access to loads of people who are suggestible. This is like a mind virus that took hold early in the internet's history. Early. But this was a doomsday cult. You didn't have to go to any special meetings to join this doomsday cult. You just had to become a fucking doomer, and there'd be somebody who'd be endlessly talking about this. It was like the Bitcoin of its day, and there were people making money out of it. It was a money spinner. Leader claims she is a contactee. Contactees are persons who claim to have experienced contact with extraterrestrials. Some claimed ongoing encounters, while others claimed that we have had a few as a single encounter. Oh, contactees, right, okay. I can close the book on contactees. As long as we tell as many lies as we do, there's no alien race is going to have anything to do with us, because viruses like this, right, can affect them. Because you don't get to be a race that can travel from dimension to dimension or from galaxy to galaxy based upon bad faith and bullshit. You wouldn't have got that far. Unless, of course, the race you were got that far and then you killed, had a rebellion, and then all the fucking dickheads took over the technology. Oh no, that's Halo, isn't it? Yeah, okay, sorry. When the savages of the galaxy have actually forgotten how all their technology works. They've just got lots of it and the machines to make more. Oh, what a load of shit. Leader claims she is a contactee with the ability to receive messages from extraterrestrials from the Zeta Reticula star system through an implant in her brain. She states that she was chosen to warn mankind that the object would sweep through the inner solar system in May 2003, though the date was later postponed. Yeah, they pushed it out. It became 2012. Other internet people came along and lined up the trajectory of the old calendars, the Mayan calendar, and they actually said, oh, did aliens do this? This is the same aliens, isn't it? Yes, it is. This is what they knew was coming. This is us. This is us. So they became a larger movement and then started to infect, the ultra-religious who are miserable, who like to be raptured out because they're the good people. Another set of fantasists, dangerous fucking psychos that were kicking around at the time. They joined forces with it. It's like, in the end, this became the fucking Trump movement. I'm telling you. It became the Trump movement. Yeah, the ability to receive messages from extraterrestrials from the Zeta Reticula star system through an implant in her brain. She states she was chosen to warn mankind the object would sweep through the inner solar system in May 2003, though that date was later postponed, causing Earth to undergo a physical pole shift that would destroy most of humanity. The prediction has subsequently spread beyond Leader's website and been embraced by numerous doomsday groups. In the late 2000s, it became closely associated with the 2012 phenomenon. Since 2012, the Nibiru cataclysm has frequently reappeared in the popular media, usually linked to news-making astronomical objects such as Comet Ison or Planet 9, although the name Nibiru is derived from the works of the fiction of the ancient astronaut writer Zecharia Sitchin and his interpretations of Babylonian and Sumerian mythology. He denied any connection between his work and various claims of the coming apocalypse, a prediction by self-described Christian numerologist David Mead. Those fucking guys. Yes, Christian numerologist. David, they're the kind of people who run my numbers and come back and be like, oh no, it's the devil. Christian numerologist. It's like, you haven't got size 11 feet, have you? Just so happens I have. No! No! David Mead, that the Nibiru cataclysm would occur on the 23rd of September 2017. Nope, still not dead. Received extensive media coverage. The idea that a planet-sized object will collide with or closely pass by Earth in the near future is not supported by any scientific evidence and has been rejected by astronomers and planetary scientists as pseudoscience and an internet hoax. Such an object would have destabilized the orbits of the planets to the extent that their effects would be easily observable today. It's like good quantum physicists who could explain themselves, like certainly Nassim Haramein. He destroyed these people when he came along. When it's like, get to thinking about how it works in equilibrium with itself, and that the electromagnetism and the Coriolis forces, it's like so many weak forces becoming one universal strong force. So you start to think about these things, and it's a matter of, if that thing was on the way in, we'd fucking know about it. Why? Because of the electromagnetic effects it would be having on the stable equilibrium that is our solar system. We'd notice if something that big was starting to mess with the orbit of everything. It's a magnetizable object. It would have an effect. It's in vacuum. it would become like an accumulator of energy. We'd know about it. It'd bring a strong force into an atmosphere of a weaker force. So it's like, even a numpty like me can say, that's a hoax. Why? Because it's being a magnetizable object. You were liars. It's like the aliens, right? Well, it's obvious, isn't it, what's happened, right? The aliens who contacted this Nancy Leader woman were liars. Never believe what aliens tell you. Seriously. Those aliens were liars. And that imprint, that implant in a brain that they put there, right? It was, it was abused, wasn't it? Could have used it for all sorts of useful, different things. It's like this went so far. These people had credibility, made lots of money, went on talking tours. The idea of the Nibiru encounter originated with Nancy Leader, a Wisconsin woman who claims that as a girl she was contacted by grey extraterrestrials called Zetans, who implanted a communications device in her brain. In 1995, she founded the website Zeta Talk to disseminate her ideas. Leader first came to public attention on internet news groups during the build-up to Comet Hale-Bopp 1997 perihelion. She stated, claiming to speak as the Zetans, that the Hale-Bopp comet does not exist. It is a fraud, perpetuated by those who would have the teeming masses quiescent until it is too late. Hale-Bopp is nothing more than a distant star and will draw no closer. She claimed that the Hale-Bopp story was manufactured to distract people from the imminent arrival of a large planetary object, Planet X, which would soon pass by Earth and destroy civilization. What a fucking grifter she was. Like, wow, what a fucking grifter. It's like, there's some grifters in the world, isn't there? But this one, right, claimed to speak on behalf of a fictional alien race, and people listened to her. Her claims eventually made the New York Times. When a nutter like this gets a following, they just encourage it because it's just a waste of time. And it keeps people from being engaged in things that could be termed as being meaningful. There was so much of this around at the time. Now, if the people who were speculating, thinking about, planning for, preparing themselves for the cataclysm that Nibiru would strike and destroy the world, right, could have been doing something else. Anything else they'd have been doing would have been making the world a better place. So I look at this and I see that it gets the assistance of the fucking New York Times in propagating. This looks like, this is like boss level intervention. It's like, find something absolutely crazy, pour a load of fucking petrol on it, fund it, encourage it. Right, what happens is, right, she talks all this crap, and then people find Zechariah Sitchin and Suma, and turns out she's like plagiarized this guy's fiction. So lo and behold, all of a sudden, what he said was in like the Babylonian and fucking scrolls, and is what she said. So then they took this as like a proof or false positive, and then they turned this Sitchin guy into a kind of prophet, right? And then words like this, like Marduk, started to appear. Just read a little about Sitchin if you don't know of Sitchin. Sitchin to me is like, he's dead now, obviously long gone, but he's someone who I go to a side of room with and just asked him fucking stupid questions. You know, like Ali G turn up and interview someone. And Sitchin, if you paid him enough money, you could ask him any fucking stupid question in the universe and he'd be able to give you an answer. That's what a fucking grifter he was. It's like, how did Sitchin end up getting books out in the world? Because his stuff is fucking nonsense, right? It's bad. It's like rewriting ancient history. It's very, very canonical. It's very biblical. But a very biblical rewrite of ancient history, because nobody occupies the space of ancient history. It's why Battlestar Galactica can be such a successful show. It's like this sort of shit. When that 2003 Battlestar Galactica came out, actually, this sort of shit was really prevalent. There was lots of this about talking about this Planet X and the Sumerians and shit like that. Now, all that's been all really consumed now by, it's like the Black Israelites. They realised they were all talking about the same thing and they swallowed this up. This ancient Sumer bullshit. They made it part of their shit. So it's like, this is like, when God started talking about mind parasites, it's like, this mind parasite is still active and never went away and burrowed itself even fucking deeper. Just found a new home. It just migrated, and then it's, oh, this is part of that. This is part of that. And it's like, this is a patchwork quilt of fantasies that people hold as being like real ancient history. And the truth is, we don't know. So understanding the truth is we don't know, and understanding that it's a turf, right, that can be fought over and no one's ever going to be proven right or wrong, you can engage on that turf. You can't have a debate as to who might be right, because there's no way of proving that anyone's right. So when you see like spats break out amongst people like the pro-Black Israelites and Graham Hancock, well, to my mind, they are equally just speculative fiction writers. It's like George Lucas and Gene Roddenberry have a punch-up about, who has space right in Star Trek or Star Wars. It's that ridiculous. But yes, Sitchin and Sumer, although Leader originally referred to the object as Planet X, it has become deeply associated with Nibiru, a planet from the work of ancient astronaut proponent Zecharia Sitchin, particularly his book The 12th Planet, according to Sitchin's interpretation of ancient Mesopotamia religious texts, which has been shown to be based on a faulty understanding of Sumerian text. A giant planet called Nibiru or Marduk, although there's others who've said that Marduk would be like the space cunt who controls Nibiru. Whether Marduk, because Marduk elsewhere is another name for the Messiah, or the one who comes with wisdom. That's who Marduk is. So it's like that they have called Marduk a planet, and then others have made other applications of other mentions of this name and said, no, this is a person. So it's like, okay, we'll round it all together, make it the same thing. Passes by Earth every 3,600 years, allowing its sentient inhabitants to interact with humanity. Sitchin identified these beings with the Anunnaki. I'm a member of the Anunnaki. If the Anunnaki are real and a power, that's what I am. I am Anunnaki. but it's like this thing where they put up Anunnaki. When you come along and say, oh well, yeah, it's like well, if you look at the variance, the differences in kind of blood types and the ancient history of bloodlines, it's like I'm Anunnaki, aren't I? That's what we're talking about, isn't it? And then they say, no, you can't be. And it's like, well, probably am. If they're real, I'm one of them, and I'm saying some of them are all right. They don't want to kill you. No, you're fucking it up for us. You're not one of them. Why? Because you don't rule the world. So, well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I think you're barking up the wrong tree looking for the Anunnaki in the places you're looking for them. It's like you'll likely find them everywhere if you were altogether bothered and this just wasn't a story that you were telling to get attention and money. Spent quite a lot of my time, having far too much time on my hands over the years, knocking over grifters who were selling this scam. The bad boy Anunnaki. It's like blaming climate change for everything. It's the same thing. The Anunnaki rule the world. This is climate change responsible for this. Same thing. It's just a mysterious, imaginary scapegoat. And it's like if your mysterious imaginary scapegoat isn't doing it for you anymore, you just go out and find another one, a better one that explains more. And, you know, the old Anunnaki ruling the world, that explains everything, doesn't it? Sitchin identifies these beings with the Anunnaki in Sumerian mythology and claimed that they were humanity's first gods. Leader made the connection between Nibiru and her Planet X on the site in 1996. Planet X does exist, and it's the 12th planet, one and the same. Sitchin, who died in 2010, denied any connection between his work and Leader's claims. In 2007, partly in response to Leader's proclamation, Sitchin published a book, The End of Days, which set the time for the passing of Nibiru by Earth at 556 BC, which would mean, given the object's see, fiction, he just retconned his story to fuck with her. He retconned his story to fuck with her. Because he could, because it was fiction, because people were... These grifters were leaning on Sitchin, cracking on, oh, go and see him, it's from him, he's our expert. And he's like, who the fuck are you? So his action is to retcon his work. Between 556 BC, which would mean, given the object's supposed 3,600 year orbit, that it would return sometime around 2,900. Oh, well, he fixed it. He just fixed it for him, just rewrote it. He did say that he believed that the Anunnaki might return earlier by spaceship, and that the time of their return would coincide with the shift from the astrological age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, sometime between 2090 and 2370. See, this guy, he gets it already, he knows. So he just rewrites his prophecy because it's fiction. Modern proponents of the Nibiru cataclysm often cite the winged sun symbol as actually representing Nibiru, whom they believe would appear like a winged star. 2012 in the Mayan calendar. Remember this one? Same cult, same bullshit, same crack. The leader herself has not specified a new date for the object's return. Many groups have taken up the idea and cited their own dates. One frequently cited date was December the 21st, 2012. That's like a week after my birthday. just saying these dates as they work and certain other cycles work together. I like this because most of it centers around me. Seriously. It's like the dates they find interesting and superstition in this Christian numerology just by fluke of birth. And it's likely why I hate these people so much is that it's like, right, the thing that could undo you is if everything you find sacred just appeared and you didn't like it, you'd have to rewrite it all. And as I was like hunting through their shit, I made a connection one day. It's like, according to their shit, it's like it's me who's like either doing all this or is the person who can stop it. I love how it all just works into, specific days. And when this came up, the 21st of September 2012, there were people who were genuinely afraid of that. And there were other people who were really looking forward to it because they knew they'd just be instantly killed. They were like waiting on the day, please end my misery. And I'm like, don't worry, boys and girls, nothing bad's going to happen. I'm playing Battlefield 3. And I did it hilariously, obviously I'm right. Nobody died. So it's like the fact that I wasn't destroying the world and I didn't have any connection to all these multi-dimensional or space entities, because none of it is real, you're all safe. Don't worry about it, you're all safe. Aliens, I've worded them, they're never coming back. What? Yeah, if Sitchin can do it, so can I. And if this bitch, right, can say she speaks on behalf of an alien race, it's like, well, I can speak on the behalf of that alien race. His bosses, can't I? If I really want to, all I've got to do is, run my mouth and just, be a bit whimsical about it. She was deadly serious. She was someone who laid claim that she was speaking on behalf of an alien race, and she got away with it. Found an audience. Yeah, December the 21st, 2012. This day had many apocalyptic associations as it was this end of a cycle, but Actun in the long count of the Maya calendar. Several winters published books connecting the encounter with 2012. Despite the day having passed, many websites will contend that Nibiru Planet X is en route to the Earth. In 2012, Leader claimed that US President Barack Obama futilely attempted to announce the presence of Nibiru near the Sun. After 2012, she claimed that several world leaders had intended to announce the presence of Nibiru near the Sun on October the 20th, 2014. 2 weeks after the supposed date of announcement, she claimed that it did not occur because of consternation amongst the establishment. Handy for her, isn't it? I used to love this shit when it was around, just laughing at it. I used to think it was funny. Like darkly, morbidly, almost, like completely nihilistic and hilarious. I used to find this. Because you would get new people come along and say, have you heard about Planet X? And you'd be like, yeah. And they would come at you like people who were selling Bitcoin at the time. And I'd said things like, no, I've had a word about it. What? Yeah, it's off. Yeah, it's a hoax anyway. It's like, but what they had in store, they've backed off. Why? Because I told them to. Excuse me? Yeah, Don't worry about it. Nothing's going to happen. You've been saved. And they'd be like, and then they're not dead. They're still in the world. One notable person who fell into this cult is someone we know from this channel who is currently in jail. From this cult, this doomsday belief. I love how they make Obama part of it, because they used to, them people, right? President Barack Obama, right? This group, as they moved politically, as they became a movement, they were 100% square behind Barack Obama and cracking on like he could be the one to lead us and make friends with the aliens. I'm not kidding. Oh, and here we go again, where I see a return. Some crazy woman's fallen into it. In 2017, a conspiracy theorist and self-proclaimed Christian numerologist, these people, I want to trap these people. Christian numerologist, you are the guy who looks at my numbers in my Twitter profile and says, oh no, this is the end. And it's like, well, for you it would be if I was ever allowed to get near you with your bullshit. In 2017, a conspiracy theorist and self-proclaimed Christian numerologist named David Mead revived the Nibiru cataclysm by tying it to various passages from the Bible. Mead declared that these passages contain secret numerological codes. You can do that with that weighted number system they've got. You can discern things. If you apply a pattern to something, you'll find a pattern, and then you just have to be selective about where you. It's bullshit, but that biblical numerology, them guys who were pushing that, they were just fucking nuts. I remember those guys where they were like the numerology of this and teaching you how to use this numerology, and it. In the end, right, it looks like what they'd stumbled across was like a really ancient way of teaching people that they should be careful what they say. Like, don't break words unless you mean to. Don't be frivolous or loose with your fucking mouth. That's what it was meant to teach, and it's like almost a pre-language or pre-written language version of that, as to where someone might say to you, measure the weight of your words, i.e. be accurate, don't be hyperbolic, don't say amazing all the time, don't say things are fantastic, say it's all right, serves its purpose, no complaints. It's like, it's kind of a teaching of think about what you say before you say it, but they completely turned it into something different and then tried to apply as to say, I'm getting these signals from the ether and I'm looking at these numbers and it all makes perfect sense. And it's like, you're a fucking lunatic. Mead declared that these passages contain secret numerological codes which revealed the exact date on which Nibiru would arrive. He also based his predictions on the geometry of the Giza pyramids. Oh, well, there you go. Mead initially, it's like how to create a fanciful association, make it seem more credible. It's like as if people already believe all kinds of mystical shit about the pyramids. Oh, well, make it part of that, and then it just drags it into the same universe. So people who are kind of into this mystery realm, they're like, oh, this guy's onto something. He solved the riddle. He solved the puzzle. Mead initially predicted that Nibiru would arrive in October 2017. Still waiting. But he never revised the date back to September. But he later revised the date back to September the 23rd, Right, people weren't paying him enough money, so he actually brought it forward. The specific focus of his prediction would revolve around the women of the apocalypse, referring to a supposedly unique configuration on that day of sun, moon, and the planets in Virgo. He cited the solar eclipse of August 21st, 2017 as a harbinger. Ain't it a good trick, that? He just owned it. That proves I'm right. What? Yeah, it's a sign. If you're looking for signs and you need signs, you can always find signs to reinforce your bullshit. Doomsday cult. Jehovah's Witnesses are just the best at it. It's like, it's a scam. Mead's claims received extensive media attention. Viral fake news stories circulated across the internet, including non-existent confirmations by NASA of Nibiru's existence on a course headed straight for Earth. In reality, NASA's position is, and always has been, that Nibiru does not exist. Mead also faced criticism from fellow Christians. Ed Stetzer, writing for Christianity Today, stated that there is no such thing as a Christian numerologist. Thank you. And described Mead as a made-up expert in a made-up field talking about a made-up event. Correct. Christopher M. Grady, a professor with the Vatican Observatory Foundation, noted that the supposedly unique event was, in fact, quite common, having occurred 4 times in the last millennium. You see this as to where this guy running this scam, when all of the right people to ask were asked, and they said, "No, this is bullshit." His go-to was, "Look, this is proof that they're all against me. This is proof that there's a conspiracy. They're trying to hide the truth from you." So when they get caught, they turn that around into, "Look, there's a conspiracy against me." Where have we seen that before? Basically, every scammer does it. Because to be a scammer like that, you have to believe it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be. Basically, you're the first victim of the scam. You scammed yourself and then you start to sell your shit to others. Quite common. Having occurred 4 times in the last millennium. His September 23rd theories were also debunked by Time writer Jeff Kruger. Brazilian astronomer Dulio de Mello called his predictions and conjectures rubbish, and also said Nibiru would have been seen during the eclipse, and that Mead was using calculations based on the Gregorian calendar. After his predictions failed to come true, Mead revised them and declared that Nibiru would arrive on October the 5th, 2017, and not September the 23rd. Mead announced that on the 5th of October, Nibiru would eclipse the sun, and North Korea, China, and Russia would launch a combined nuclear attack on the United States. See this? He has to, when people start to doubt him, he then creates the idea of an impending nuclear war to, like, imaginarily defend himself with nuclear arms. I like doing that. That to me, that's absolutely the funniest, most hilarious fucking thing you could ever come out with for a laugh. But it's like, he didn't mean it like that. Then Earth would be devastated by a series of magnitude 9.8, like the biggest possible earthquake. Magnitude of 9.8 earthquakes. Earth's magnetic poles would shift by 30 degrees. The United States would be split in half, and Barack Obama would be elected president for an unconstitutional 3rd term. He predicted that the 7-year Great Tribulation would begin on October 15th. When October came, another apocalyptic writer, Terrell Croft, predicted the arrival of Nibiru on November the 19th. A prediction again reported in the British tabloid press. Croft described Nibiru as a black star at the edge of the solar system, which rather than colliding with Earth, would form an apocalyptic conjunction with Earth, leading to massive earthquakes. Croft claimed that earthquakes have been increasing worldwide in the lead up to the conjunction. So these guys are like, same as the climate change guys. The same as they're in essence playing the same game. Though the Washington Post, quoting the United States Geological Survey, was quick to point out that earthquakes have decreased in both power and frequency over the year. Paul Begley, a YouTube conspiracy theorist and pastor at the Community Gospel Baptist Church in Knox, Indiana, also predicted in one of his YouTube videos that Nibiru would appear in 2017 and declared that the solar eclipse was a sign of the apocalypse and the rogue planet. We're all still here. It's amazing, isn't it? Around 12th of April 2018, Mead cited an alleged 23rd of April astrological conjunction in Virgo and predicted that Nibiru would appear during the conjunction and presage the rapture. Would appear during the conjunction and presage the rapture. Yeah, they turned it into something. Basically, the whole thing became then jacked by the Christians that are the reason why everybody hates the Christians. They took over it. Commenting that nothing resembling such a conjunction is actually forecast for April 23rd. There you go. This is the right. These people are like, these are the Anunnaki agents. All these people who called this bullshit. This is they show themselves by their actions, and they deny these perfectly rational people making these apocalyptic doom predictions on the internet that have been at it for 20 years by now. Astronomers reject the idea of Nibiru and have made efforts to inform the public that there is no threat to Earth. They point out that such an object so close to Earth would be easily visible to the naked eye and would cause notable effects in the orbits of the outer planets. Most photographs purporting to show Nibiru besides the sun are lens flares, false images of the sun created by reflections within the lens. Claims that the object has been concealed behind the sun are untenable. Yeah, it's just unknowable. An orbit like that of Nibiru within the planetary region of the solar system is inconsistent with celestial mechanics. See, we know about that now. There's a the guys who came up with that grift, right? The knowledge to actually really smash it debunking really wasn't around. Most people think of that Kepler model of the solar system like it's all sat on this flat plane. And that, it's just there, but everything's in an orbit of its own. And it's like, just generally, it's like in 1995, you start techno-babbling that. Most people, when they thought about the solar system, they thought about it being the sun in the middle and a lot of things going around it. Well, that's not how it works, but that's how a lot of people thought about it, because that explains it, but it's a simplification. So it's hard to debunk something that comes along saying an object hiding in the solar system, because you think of the solar system as it being on an elliptical plane when it's not, and then they say that something's on like a non-elliptic, and they say, oh fucking hell, yeah, of course, well, you wouldn't see it until it came back, what we are. Exactly. Whereas by my reckoning, the solar system's more like a cone. It's like the sun is in motion and it's dragging the whole thing with it. And booming at a first speed, I might also add. So it doesn't look like that. So it's like when you know it doesn't look like that, you understand it's something far more chaotic and hard to navigate. And see, an astronomer, where he's looking for stuff in the sky, he's got an idea about that, so the relative distances. this place booming, those light beams being fixed like photons. Oh no, I'm being far too boring. It's like, you can't sell me this shit, unfortunately. What are we up to? David Morrison, a NASA space scientist, explains that after just one previous flyby of Earth, such as proponents claim happened in Sumerian times, Earth itself would no longer be in its near circular orbit and would likely have lost its moon. If Nibiru were a brown dwarf, it would have even worse effects, as brown dwarfs are far more massive. Since Pluto is now frequently observed by backyard telescopes, any giant planet beyond Pluto would be easily observable by an amateur astronomer. And if such an object existed in the solar system, it would have passed through the inner surface 1 million times by now. He's kind of right, isn't he? Astronomer Mike Brown notes that if this object's orbit were as described, it would only have remained in the solar system for about 1 million years before it says something about it out, yeah. Remain in the solar system for about 1 million years before Jupiter expelled it. And even if such a planet existed, its magnetic field would have no effect on Earth's leader's assertion that the approach of Nibiru would cause the Earth's rotation to stop on its axis and shift volatile laws on its axis to violate the laws of physics. In his rebuttal of Immanuel Velikovsky's World in Collision, which made the same claim that Earth's rotation could be stopped and then restarted, Carl Sagan noticed that the energy required to break the Earth is not enough to melt it. He understands relativity, doesn't he, Sagan, where the other guy doesn't. Although it would result in a noticeable increase in temperature, the oceans would be raised to boiling point of water. How does the Earth get started up again, rotating at approximately the same rate of spin? The Earth cannot do it by itself because the laws of conservation of angular momentum. You learn that riding a push bike. 2009 interview with the Discovery Channel, Mike Brown noticed that while it was not impossible that the Sun has a distant planetary companion, such an object would have to be lying very far from the observation regions of the solar system to have no detectable gravitational effect on the other planets. A Mars-sized object could lie undetected at 300 AU, 10 times the distance of Neptune. A Jupiter-sized object at 30,000 AU. An AU is like the unit of measurement of the Earth to the Sun. That's an AU, isn't it? To travel 1,000 AUs in 2 years, an object would need to be moving at 2,400 kilometers per second, faster than the galactic escape velocity. Yeah, at that speed, any objects would be shot out of the solar system, then out of the Milky Way galaxy into intergalactic space. What? It don't work. Because your mystery planet has to somehow fit into this great big picture that's already there. It has to somehow exist. We have to be able to prove it exists, and there's just no proof of its existence. In any way, shape, other than people with photographs where they've blown things up. Conspiracy theories. Many believers in the imminent approach of Planet X Nibiru accuse NASA of deliberately covering up visual evidence of its existence. Certain polls have suggested that a number of people perceive NASA as a vast government agency that receives as much funding as the Department of Defense. However, NASA's budget amounts to roughly 0.5% of that of the US government. Yeah, 0.5%. One such accusation involves the IRAS Infrared Space Observatory, launched in 1983. The satellite briefly made headlines due to an unknown object that was first described as possibly as large as the giant planet Jupiter, and possibly so close to Earth that it would be part of the solar system. This newspaper article has been cited by proponents of the Nibiru cataclysm, beginning with Leader herself, as evidence of the existence of Nibiru. However, further analysis revealed that of several initially unidentified objects, 9 were distant galaxies and the 10th was galactic cirrus. None were found to be solar system bodies. You see that as to where it's like conspiracy theories around NASA exist because grifters use them and cite them as a source when they're not. It's like they think in a simplistic mind, it's like NASA owns space. So if we name drop NASA, well, NASA could, if someone from it, if, you know, I could say something, they'd say, you know, if somebody from NASA was sat here next to me, they'd agree. If you, fucking hell, it's like if you let that slide as being, well, that's a reasonable standard of truth or proof. Fuck no. Another accusation made by websites predicting the collision with the US is that the US government built the South Pole telescope, SPT, to track Nibiru's trajectory, and that the object has been imaged optically. However, the SPT, which is not funded by NASA, is a radio telescope and cannot take optical images. Its South Pole location was chosen due to the low humidity environment, and there is no way an approaching object could be seen only from the South Pole. A purported picture of Nibiru posted on YouTube was revealed to be a Hubble Space Telescope image of the expanding light echo around the stars V838 Mon, which is more than 19,000 light years away from the Earth. Well, that's it then, isn't it? Other conspiracy claim, regards a patch of missing data in Google Sky near the constellation of Orion, which has often been cited as evidence that Nibiru has been redacted. However, the same region of sky can still be viewed by thousands of amateur astronomers. A scientist at Google said, I should wear my reading glasses, shouldn't I? That's what the scientist at Google said. He said, I should wear my reading glasses if I'm going to read off the screen. A scientist at Google said that the missing data is due to a software error when piecing images together. Another piece of claimed evidence drawn from Google Sky is the cartoon star C.W. Leonis. Carbon star C.W. Leonis, which is the brightest object in the 10 UM infrared sky and has been incorrectly claimed to be Nibiru. This actually goes on and on and on and gets debunked and debunked and debunked. But what I point to is, right, this doomsday scam, right, this fucked with people's minds and turned them into online crazy activist idiots, believing that they knew something that nobody else did. Okay, what do you know? The Earth's going to be destroyed. Okay, is there anything on television? We're all going to die. It's like, guess what? We're all going to die. We all know we're going to die. We just don't like it stuffed in our face every 5 minutes. The idea that we're all going to die together? Okay. Instead of just popping off one at a time, it's like, okay, make it a fucking party or something. It's like, what are you trying to do? And it's like, we're trying to frighten you and distract you because that fear that we can build up in you, others can use that fear too. You can't tell me anyone who believes this bullshit or who'd start bringing it back to life. TikTok. David Mead. It's like these are the original gangsters of online grifting. It's like these people moved from this kind of game into various other kinds of game. Are people who fell in this cult and learned all these tricks, then started to apply them. To me, it's the greatest joke in the world is that you can mouth off like this and no one can prove you're a liar. And it'd be funny, right? But they've got to know that's what you're doing. But these people, it's like they frightened people. They were able to like be part of the Obama myth. They aided his campaign. They decided he was the one who would lead us. He was the one who was going to lead us through the cataclysm. He was the one who was going to save us when this thing hit. Vote for Obama, because when Nibiru strikes, we'll need him to be at his very best. He is, after all, the chosen one. It's like, to see that pop up as some nutters, get watching this. I thought you died. I thought I killed you. But you're back.